Has anyone ever wondered how Buggy actually made it to the new world, or how he is even still alive at all? I mean, this guy sailed with the king of the pirates, was imprisoned in the most secure prison known to man, broke out of said prison, went toe to toe with some of the highest navy officials, became a warlord of the sea and then an emperor of the sea. Hearing that description, you'd think I would be talking about a legend in the One Piece world, but you are wrong. I'm talking about Buggy, a random clown with no haki and very limited fighting capabilities. Now, Buggy is the definition of being in the right place at the right time. It's like faith itself is guiding this man to glory. It's so stupid but hilarious, so I'm here for it. So please get ready, as we're going to go over the whole story. Now, the first time we saw Buggy was all the way back in the East Blue, in a town called Orange Town. Now picture this for me. You are Buggy the Clown, and at the time you have a pretty respectable status as being one of the most feared pirates in the East Blue. And like all pirates, you want to go to the Grand Line. But there's just one problem. Your map was stolen by some random chick, and that's all your crew have told you. When all of a sudden, the person who stole your treasure map just turns up at your front door, returns the map, and gives you a prisoner, and then asks you to join your crew. You can't understand why she did this, but you're literally a clown, so you take zero precautions at all and welcome her with open arms. You don't even just welcome her, you throw her a full-on rager as a welcoming party. Keep in mind, up until 5 minutes ago, you would have had this person executed, and after all of the celebrating ends, you asked the girl to kill the prisoner to prove her worth. You are a group of pirates after all. So you get everything ready, the cannon, the boogie ball, everything. And just when you think she's about to shoot, she just knocks out one of your crew members trying to light the cannon. And you're just like, well, what the hell is the meaning of this? And she responds with, sorry, my bad, as if taking out a weapon out of nowhere and knocking one of your crew into next week was a complete accident. And while all this nonsense is going on, the legendary pirate hunter Zoro appears in the flesh and starts fighting your crew. I mean, the guy just completely spawned in out of nowhere. And you're just like, what the hell? Anyway, you see this as a way to bolster your reputation. So you start to fight him. And while you're fighting him, he completely destroys you. I mean, he literally chops you up into little pieces. But you have a trick up your sleeve. You have eaten the chop fruit, a devil fruit that makes you completely invulnerable to slash attacks. And you can also reattach and attach parts of your body. Anyway, you play dead for a while and then you just stab him right in the back. And as you're bathing in the glory of defeating the East Blue's most legendary pirate hunter, the prisoner yells at the top of his lungs, calling you a big nose. Now, for a little context here, you are very, very insecure about your nose. You have killed people for just even bringing it up. And not only does he call you big nose, he proceeds to laugh in your face. Like, the amount of disrespect from this nobody who, mind you, is literally trapped in a cage. And while you're arguing with this random guy in a cell, Zoro turns their cannon upside down and fires it at you at point blank range. And then all three of them manage to get away. Like, you are just furious. Three ordinary people just spawned in out of nowhere, stole your treasure, beat up your crew, severely insulted you, and then fired an explosive right in your face. Like, you're Buggy the Clown. You can't take shit from these three nobodies. You've got a reputation to uphold. And after a while, your beaten and battered left-hand man Moji returns to you and says he was defeated, and you're just like, how could you have been defeated by Zoro? And he's like, no, it was the Straw Hat. And before he can reveal to you that he's not just a punk, but actually a lunatic crackhead who goes around liberating islands like he's Rico Rodriguez from Just Cause 3, he faints. Just before he can give you any information about this guy at all. You're Captain Buggy. You can't be made a joke of by three ordinary people and a swordsman. And as you're preparing, the mayor of the town comes and tries to challenge you to a fight. An ordinary man with a stick says he wants to run the ones with you. Like, you know, at this point you just feel completely insulted, so you try to kill him. And as soon as you can even land him a blow, the rubber lunatic with the straw hat comes out of nowhere and saves him. And before you can even just ask him who he is and what the hell he wants, he screams at the top of his voice again, calling you a big nose, and you just waste no time at all. you immediately fire a boogie ball right at him. And out of buttfuck nowhere, this ordinary guy turns himself into a balloon and fires the cannonball right back at you, completely decimating your entire crew, your hideout, and everything you've ever known. You only managed to survive because you used 2 of your own men as a shield. And at this point, you're not messing around at all, so you send your right-hand man to defeat them, Cabbagey, a nutjob gymnast with a sword and a unicycle. And at first he seems to be winning, until he's just completely taken out in one hit by Zoro. And you're just thinking to yourself, you're like, do I really have to run the ones with these guys? I mean, like, what the hell is going on here? So you start fighting this lunatic, and you actually seem to be winning. And during the fight, in the corner of your eye, you spot this thieving, conniving brat just hauling away all your treasure like it's nothing. And furiously, you go after the brat to try and get your treasure back. And as soon as you're about to reach her, this lunatic does the unthinkable. He completely breaks man's code and kicks you right in the balls. And it's not just any kick, this guy kicks you with absolutely everything he's got. And you are just like completely out of it. And once you finally wake up, you realize that the brat from before has tied up all your body parts, so you're only left with your feet, your hands, and your head. You're looking like, I don't know, a Smurf. And then the rubber man proceeds to slingshot you across a whole ocean and onto a new island. In the span of less than an hour, you have lost your treasure, your crew, your reputation, your whole establishment, everything, to a rubber man, a thief, and a guy who sticks a sword in his mouth. Like, you really woke up today and Faith was like, you know what, you need a setback today, my friend. Now from here on out, not really too much happens. You try to eat, get eaten instead, get spat to another island. You make friends with a guy in a box called Gaiman, and then saved by Alvida, who, if you don't remember, Alvida was the one Luffy defeated a while back with Kobe, and you guys both have something in common. You want to get revenge against this lunatic nutjob rubber man. So you team up, you reunite with your crew, and you set off to Loguetown. Now, Loguetown is hilarious, okay? We have to talk about this. You're in Loguetown, you're allied with Alvida, and the only thing on your mind is to finally find Luffy and execute him. So anyway, you continue on looking for Luffy until you finally find him in the square, right beside the execution platform. You're there with Alvida, your crew, everybody. And as he stands on the platform, you're so excited about getting your revenge, you start preaching to him. You start telling him a story about all the pain and suffering he's caused you. And before you can finish, he asks you, what is your name? And then starts listing through a few names. Baggy, Booger, and the name he lands on is Buffoon. This rubber lunatic has destroyed your entire life, and when you're finally gonna get your revenge, he calls you a buffoon. I mean, like, the disrespect is crazy, until Cabbagey finally ties him down so he can't escape, and you begin the execution. You have him tied down. You're standing over him, about to bring your sword right down on his neck. Nothing could possibly go wrong, right? And as you go to cut off his head, lightning from the heavens comes down and strikes you, saving him, and almost killing you in the process. I mean, at this point, fate just has it out for you. And once you finally wake up, you find yourself just swarmed by Marines and captured by Smoker. Like, absolutely nothing is going your way at the moment. And then Smoker goes off to capture Luffy, and you get saved by a huge gust of wind. And I don't know how, but somehow you all managed to escape and set out to the Grand Line to find the Straw Hats again. Like, you have just not learned your lesson. You literally had him paralyzed under your sword, and you still couldn't kill him. So you just begin your journey through the Grand Line. You've learned that the Straw Hats bounty has risen to 100 million now, and this makes you extremely happy, as when you finally catch him, you'll be even more famous and feared throughout the seas. Until Alvida asks the golden question. She asks you, where is he? And you reply with, oh, we'll find him eventually. And then some absolute randomer in the back just says, I know where he is. And you're just like, yeah, see, this guy knows where he is, until you finally clock it. And you start questioning him. You're like, who the hell are you, and what the hell are you doing on my ship? And he very politely replies with, I'm Portcasty Ace, and I just couldn't resist the sweet aroma on your ship. And you're like, oh, well, nice to meet you, Ace, but what the hell are you doing here? Until you realize that Ace here is the 2nd Division commander of the Whitebeard Pirates. And when you come to that realization, he just falls asleep. Like, this man just does not care. And your men are getting excited. They're like, oh, we're about to kill Firefist Ace, we'll be famous. But you, Buggy, know this is a horrible idea. So you lecture your crew to never ever mess with Whitebeard in a very haunting tale. And again, Alvida questions you, asking how the hell do you know so much about him? And you don't really give an answer, but we all know the truth. Now from here, you stupidly wander right into a marine garrison trying to search for Captain John's treasure, and of course you get imprisoned and sent to the world's most dangerous prison in the world, Impel Down. Impel Down would be like if they put Alcatraz in Fort Knox, creating the most secure place on Earth that also tortures you in the process. You've managed to hide your devil fruit powers from the prison. So if you play your cards right, it is possible that you can escape. But you have to play it cool, you know, you can't just escape on the first day, you need a plan. So you wait out a while until the day finally comes when you escape. Only to your surprise, you have chosen the worst possible day to escape, as Impel Down is expecting a huge attack from Whitebeard, so the prison is like inescapable times 10. So you just get spotted straight away, and you're being chased all around the prison by the Blue-Gory sea monkeys. Until you end up running beside someone, and you look over to your left, and you see the man himself, Straw Hat Luffy. Now the only reason why you're here is because of him. The only thing you want is to get revenge on this man, and somehow he's just casually running alongside you in the most dangerous prison known to man. You may be a clown, but you're kinda smart. You know that you can't just attack him here, especially with the Blue-Gory chasing you, so you try to make small talk. You're like, I guess prison hasn't made you any less stupid, I see. And he replies with, only idiots get locked up in here. I came in here myself. This rubber lunatic came into the prison himself to rescue his brother. And you know damn well, if you stay with this guy, you're gonna get caught up in way more trouble than if you were to on your own. Like, it would probably be better for you to just go lock yourself up inside prison again. But before you leave, you notice something. The Straw Hat Man is carrying Captain John's treasure map on his arm. The treasure you've been looking for ages. And you can't really believe what you're looking at. You're thinking to yourself, you must be hallucinating, right? There's no way this idiot just is casually wearing probably one of the greatest treasure maps in the world on his arm while running through the world's most dangerous prison. So you cut a deal with him. You agree to take him to where his brother is in return for the map. And of course he agrees, but you have zero intention of keeping your end of the bargain. And when you land, you see a massive hole that will take you down a level, and you're just like, this is where we need to go. But you have zero intention of actually following him, so you just let him go. And as you stand there, one of the Blue-Gory 360 no-scopes you like Kratos from God of War, completely removing your head from your body. The lower part of your body falls straight into the hole. So now you're forced to follow this nut job down there. And once you get down there, you try to explain to him that this floor is swarming with monsters that will literally eat you alive, so you gotta be careful. Now at this point, the guards have caught on to what the hell's going on. They know you've escaped, and they've identified the lunatic beside you as Straw Hat Luffy. But you're kinda busy running into monsters in level 2, and you can defeat them relatively easy enough until you find the Basilisk. Now the Basilisk is like the main boss of level 2. And you think you're finished, you think this is the end of Buggy the Clown, when this absolute nutcase blows up his hand like something straight out of Tom and Jerry and just obliterates the Basilisk. And the whole prison goes crazy. They start calling you a god that's descended from heaven to free them, and you see this as a perfect opportunity to release all the prisoners to start a riot, to increase your chances of escaping. And you end up meeting Mr. 3 in the process, Goldinio, an old pal to Luffy. Well, maybe not a pal, but someone who can help you guys escape, as it's in his own best interest. So you, Luffy, and your new mate Goldinio take the stairs leading down to level 3, when you encounter the Sphinx, the boss of level 3. And you and Mr. 3 absolutely don't want to venture into the deeps of Impel Down, so you make a pact between you two to use Straw Hat as bait But before you can go back up to level 1, the Sphinx breaks the floor and you both fall down to level 3. So you're sitting down in the starvation hell, trying to figure out how on earth you can escape until you get chased by one of the animal guards, the Minosaurus. And it just chases you right into Luffy and Bon Clay. And from now, all 4 of you are running away from it. And between your Muggy Ball, Bon Clay's kicks, and Luffy's wax rifle, you actually managed to defeat this animal guard. So you all start celebrating, like you've actually managed to defeat one of the toughest guards in the prison. But your celebration is cut extremely short as the floor collapses right underneath you, sending you down another level to the burning heat hell. Now level 4 is extremely hot. You can't even stand properly without burning yourself. But besides that, Luffy somehow manages to find himself walking towards the kitchen. And you see this as another chance to hide and make your escape without those 2 lunatics. So you try to make your escape into the higher levels until you run into Hannibal. Now, Hannibal is the Vice Warden, and the only thing this guy wants is to become the Warden himself, okay? He doesn't care what the hell happens as long as he gets to be Warden. So he sees you, and he decides to let you guys go. As if you manage to escape, Warden Magellan will be fired as you let 2 people escape, and then he can become the Warden. But you and Mr. 3 think he's trying to trap you, so you start attacking Hannibal and blowing up his men. And at this point, Hannibal is just forced to attack you, okay? He makes quick work of you 2, but imagine that's how you go out. You've just escaped from the most dangerous cell in the world, and you get captured because you think the Vice Warden is trying to trick you when actually he's on your side. Like, I genuinely couldn't think of a more demoralizing way to go out. And as you're about to be dragged off to be tortured, Mr. 2 arrives like Tarzan and proceeds to knock out all the guards, and then he and Hannibal proceed to have probably the goofiest fight in One Piece history. Like, this fight consisted of a ballerina throwing kicks versus a crazy Vice Warden trying to stab a ballerina with a pitchfork at every chance he could. Like, this fight would be something out of a lucid dream. And Mr. 2 manages to turn himself into Nami and uses fruit powers to seduce Hannibal into a trap. And then he turns himself into Hannibal himself, tricking Warden Magellan. I mean, this guy really saved your asses this time. But he's not giving up on Straw Hat. Even though Straw Hat was poisoned by Magellan and his odds of living are like less than 0.01%, he still won't give up on him. So he brings you guys out into the freezing hell to try and rescue him. And you'll soon come to realize that this was the worst possible way to go. As for the entire time you're in the freezing hell, Bon Clay is nowhere to be found going after Luffy, and you are stuck there in the freezing cold where if you don't keep moving, you'll freeze to death. And you have to do this all while running from hyper aggressive wolves that want to tear you apart any chance they get. And somehow you guys manage to make it back up to level 4, okay? Right from the freezing depths of Impel Down to the boiling depths. But in my opinion, I'd rather be really hot than really cold, so it's a small victory. And you spend the next 20 hours climbing back up to level 2 using Goldinio's wax powers. And while you're on your own at level 2, every guard has gone down to level 4 to deal with the absolute chaos conspiring down there between Luffy and the escaped prisoners. You free everyone on level 2, starting another riot to help increase your chances of escaping. And by freeing all these prisoners, they completely just worship you. Like, they're willing to die for you. That's how much they worship you. They think of you as Buggy the Clown, their lord and savior. And you finally manage to make it back up to level 1. And you make it to the front door, okay? You have been through hell and back, escaped from the depths of Impel Down, and you're finally here at the front door. And as soon as you open the front door, you are completely just gobsmacked. So this is like the worst thing that could happen. But luckily, joining you in the escape is the first son of the sea, Jinbei. Now Jinbei is a fishman, so he is able to swim out to sea, capture a marine vessel and bring it back. So this guy rips off one of the front doors to Impel Down like it's nothing, and then proceeds to use it as a mini raft. And there's no way you're missing out on this. You'd way rather have to deal with a few marine ships than rather face Magellan himself. So you, Crocodile, Dazbones and Jinbei set off to find the ship, and you do. You manage to take over a ship and bring it back to the others just in time to escape. You've successfully done it. You, Goldinho and Luffy have climbed through the levels of hell with death nipping at your heels. But there is just one problem. You've found out that the people you've escaped with don't want to become free men. Instead, they want to go right to Navy HQ to participate in the equivalent of what would be a world war in their world, okay? And you're just like, are you out of your goddamn mind? We just dug up from the depths of Impel Down with our own fingernails, barely managing to escape, and now you want to head straight for Navy HQ. But suddenly the phone on the marine ship starts ringing. They have identified the two ringleaders behind the Impel Down escape. Straw Hat Luffy and you, Buggy the Clown, and you're just like, wait, why me? And then they go on to reveal to everyone that you were a member of the King of the Pirates crew. And not only that, but you're an ally of the Emperor Red-Haired Shanks. I mean, this information, even for the warlords, had them shocked to them core. Like, I just can't emphasize this enough. You were on the crew of the King of the Pirates. Like, this is a huge deal. For them, you are like God himself. You have amassed a following of the most dangerous people in the world, having escaped from Impel Down. Most of them are stronger and have bigger bounties than you. And at this point you start scheming, okay? You think to yourself, with my new following, if we do go to this war and you manage to take down Whitebeard, you will for sure be made an Emperor of the Sea. So you decide to soldier on. You're casually sailing to Marineford when a huge gust of wind pushes you right back. Like, you literally can't move the ship. So everyone thinks that they won't be able to make it, and you say, the only thing we can do now is wait for a miracle. When suddenly a miracle arrives, okay? You then get picked up by a huge tsunami, leading you straight to Marineford. And you know damn well you didn't do a thing, but everyone on the ship thinks you summoned a miracle, okay? They are just completely in love with you. And this tsunami carries you straight into the war, and you end up falling from the sky. You, Buggy the Clown, are falling from the sky, intruding on the greatest war in history. But you can't fight, like at all, so you just observe. Until Admiral Kizaru does a light speed kick and completely decimates the whole island. Terrified, you scream, make it stop, I just want to go home. But all your supporters think that you said you want to kill Kizaru so that they can all go home. This is funny to me because these people are like Buggy's own personal hype men. It's so stupid, but it's just way too funny. Now you're just watching this war, chaos absolutely unfolding on both sides, until you hear a voice say, hey you, clown nose. Furiously you turn around to say, what the hell did you say to me, mate? Are you cruising for a bruising? Only to realize that you've just threatened Whitebeard. And somehow, I don't know how, you managed to form an alliance with Whitebeard. And by the way, this alliance was completely made out of fear, okay? But your followers just see it as further proof of your glory for some reason. And after some time passes, you manage to get dragged into the war, literally dragged into the war by one of Crocodile's sables. And then you were then grabbed by Luffy and used as a human shield to fend off sword attacks from the world's strongest swordsman, Dracula Mihawk. But surprisingly, because of your chop powers, you are completely unfazed. Everyone has just watched you be completely unfazed by the world's strongest swordsman, completely adding to your reputation, like you're 1-0 against Dracula Mihawk at the moment. And somehow, in all of the further chaos, you manage to get your hands on a video transponder snail. And you decide to live stream the entire war, okay, to the public. And in all this chaos as well, you have a professional camera crew, makeup artists, lighting, script. I mean, you probably have a better production team than like 90% of the shows coming out now. And your crew even give you a live commentary in front of the public. One of the most epic introductions ever, but all you can do is freeze up and stand there like an absolute clown, which is ironic to say the least. But before you can say anything else, Admiral Aokiji completely freezes you and your entire crew, freezing the broadcast, until you eventually get unfrozen by another Admiral's attack. And your crew then seem to think that you purposely froze yourself so you could show everyone else how to unfreeze themselves. But eventually Blackbeard arrives, okay? And he just starts throwing the ones with Whitebeard, and you and your crew think it's a perfect time to throw you over there. And they're about to throw you over there when you witness probably one of the most terrifying things. Whitebeard and Blackbeard going full out, and you were just scared shitless. And they were about to throw you over there. You were 1 second away from being in between Blackbeard and Whitebeard. And after that, you just start flying away crying. And your followers see you crying, and you think, they're not gonna follow me anymore. And then they think that you're trying to teach them a lesson about sympathy. But you know damn well you wouldn't have even made it into their radius without dying. And as you're flying, someone throws you Luffy and Jinbei. Okay, you are holding up Luffy and Jinbei in the sky. And then, out of nowhere, a submarine pops up and says, here, pass them here. So you do, you just throw Luffy and Jinbei right onto the deck of this submarine. You don't really care too much, like you just want to get the heck out of here. When out of nowhere, your ally, red-haired Shanks appear. And everyone starts shitting themselves. Another Emperor of the Sea has arrived. So you just start arguing with Shanks. You just start insulting him, just going crazy at him. And everyone is watching this. Buggy the Clown is insulting the legendary red-haired Shanks, and red-haired Shanks is taking it like a bitch. Like everyone is watching that and just thinks you are the biggest legend ever. But in reality, you and Shanks were on the same crew, so you kind of know each other. But everyone seems to think that you just have the biggest balls known to man. And somehow, you managed to escape from the war safely. Okay, you've done it. You've escaped from Impel Down, you've escaped from Navy HQ, you've got yourself a new crew, new followers, very, very, very strong and dangerous followers. You've now become a warlord of the sea and started your own business, Buggy's Delivery, which is a hitman service. You, in the span of like a week, you have gone from being disrespected by a rubber lunatic in the East Blue to becoming one of the warlords of the sea with a very dangerous crew and new allies. Fate has just done a complete 180 on you. And that's it for this video. Now I do plan to make separate videos about Marineford and Impel Down themselves, so let me know if you'd like to see them. And also let me know if you have any other video suggestions in the comments. So thanks for watching, thanks for taking time out of your day or night to watch this. I hope you had a good laugh, and I'll see you in the next one.